Shalom, Yasharala. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and never will. And salutation and much love for you, Aki, and pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here lesson real quick, dealing with, Esau and his space programs and things like that. And a lot of these different things that they're developing as far as these laser weapons and, just as far as the, how they call it, the Space Force. All right. And, they would have you believe that, that's the next war fighting domain as far as fighting with these other nations and, with their satellites. If they can take out their satellites, you can cut their communication. And if you can cut the communication, which, that's an actual strategy. If you got a 1,000,000-man army, all right, and, if let's say the enemy is directly in front of them, but, or directly behind them and they're just marching forward and you're trying to tell them like, hey, turn around. You got the enemy sneaking up from behind you. If you can't communicate that to them, that 1,000,000-man army becomes useless. All right. Because they're going to just get slaughtered from behind because they have no warning. All right. But you have to also understand that we're not, how do I say, you're not in that so-called quote unquote normal scenario. All right. This is all according to the Most High's plans. All right. So Esau is actually building up this here space force and space program. All right, to fight the Lord when the Lord returns, because he understands prophecy. He knows what's going on. All right. He knows he has but a short time by what? Measuring the times diligently. All right. And in fact, the Lord is the one that's increasing the wisdom and the knowledge of the so-called white man at this point in time to give him this this weaponry that he has. Because you have to understand, this was Esau's blessing. All right. Esau didn't come up with this on his own. The Most High gave him this as a blessing. All right. Gave him this wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and this technology to be able to increase for this time in the end, so that when the Lord comes back, because there's going to be a war. All right. And I always say about when dealing with Moses, when the Most High came to Moses and was like, yo, put your hand in your bosom and, reach forth. Right. And then he said his hand turned white as snow, leprous and white as snow. Right. Now, if Moses was already white, what is God really trying to prove at that point? Like, oh, wow, you so powerful. You turned a white person white. Nah, he was black, right? And then he turned him white. That's showing his power forth, right? So what good is it if Yahushua returns and the chariots and everything like that with laser weapons, but then Esau's still on, propeller planes with, just a, regular machine gun on the backside. That ain't really going to do shit. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, this is why you're seeing him developing these technologies as far as, well, not hypersonic. They got supersonic planes. All right. They got stealth, which really the stealth don't really matter to the Most High, but none of this really matters. But he has these stealth fighter jets. He has the AI fighter jets. He has like the DARPA program with basically a bunch of drones, whether they be like flying drones, dogs, men looking like robots that look like human beings walking around, all types of things like this, man. All right. Again, laser weapons, what they call dual weapons, direct energy weapons. All right, they even have them in the form of like guns, more or less to say, like what do they call them shits? Those like a laser gun. I can't think of the name of them. They have also basically like a laser gun, But nevertheless, this is and Esau doesn't need this type of technology to take on mankind, because they have devastating weapons already that could fight off mankind. All right, and kill them over hundreds and hundreds of times over, man. Just their regular machine gun and things like that. All right. But nevertheless, we want to get into this here lesson, showing forth that this has all been prophesied in the scriptures from the beginning. All right. And this is what Esau is preparing for. All right. It says, let's start here in Revelation chapter 1, verse 7. It says, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. They also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so, amen. All right. You have to understand, just like in the time of Egypt, I might have to move. Give me a sec. Just like in the time of Egypt. Salaki, give me a second. Just like in the time of Egypt, we were led out of Egypt, all right, and we followed a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, all right. And you try walking up under a cloud for, we did this for 40 years, all right. So you go outside and you follow after a cloud as long as you can. See how far you get with that, all right. But nevertheless, we understand these things, the symbolism of how these things were written in the scriptures and what they really mean. All right. It says, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. All right. And why is it going to be that every eye is going to see him? All right. Because first of all, you're going to see these chariots in the sky, They're going to have it on the news. And even if they try to suppress it on the news, everybody has cell phone footage right now. And, they just upload it to the internet. All right. Not to mention, in the carnal sense, this is why they're starting to release a lot of this information on the news right now, man, because they can't hide it no more. It's not like if you believe, right, that the quote unquote so-called UFOs don't exist, that's a conspiracy theory unto you. You know what I'm saying? Because most people would say, oh, you believe in conspiracy theories, you believe in the whatever, it's like you believing in Bigfoot. Like, ain't nobody ever really seen that, or the Loch Ness Monster. They thought they might have seen that. But now it's to the point in time where there's so much footage, so much evidence of this, that if you don't believe in these things, then all right, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're a tinfoil hat wearing person at that point in time. All right, because even the news and the government is releasing this information, and they're letting you know that they don't have anything that can stop these things. They don't have anything that can match these things, and they can't do anything about these things, man. All right, and so they're coming out of the woodwork and letting you know about these things, but also spiritually, well, carnally, they're releasing these things so that it can so-called okay them to be bringing out the technology to the public that they have. Like, yo, dog, we got a space force, we got, space weapons and so on and so forth, to so-called normalize these things. But the end all be all, like I said, this is all going according to the Most High script, all right? Which, just like in the scripture we just read, says all eyes, every eye shall see him. All right, going into what? The cell phone footage, the news footage, all this stuff is going to be televised. Not to mention, you're going to be able to look up and see these things, man. All right, granted, a lot of people are able to see it nowadays, man. All right, it says, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all the kindreds of the earth shall well because of him, even so, amen. And why is it that all kindreds of the earth shall well because of him? All right, because you have to understand the balance of the earth right now. All right, you have basically, in this sense, you only have two types of people. All right, you have the elect and you have everybody else. All right, the elect is going to be delivered up out of here. So this is going to be a treat or a reward. All right, a righteous reward unto the elect. All right, we're going to be rejoicing. Lord willing, I'm a part of that number, but we're going to be rejoicing at the sight of these chariots. Right, that's one group of people. Now the other group of people, basically everybody else is living in wickedness. You got you have the wicked, the Edomites, and then you have these other nations, the sons of men, which they follow in Esau, and they just extras in the movie anyway. But then you have 2/3 of our people who are, are basically accounted as the wicked as well too. They're part of the heathen as well too. So going into this, this is going to be a reason why they're willing, because like the scriptures say in the book of John, they don't want to come to the light because their deeds are evil. All right, they understand that these things are wicked and everything like that. They understand that their deeds are evil, and what they don't want that recompense to fall upon their head. All right, so they're gonna understand. Oh shit, it's just like you partying and doing whatever you're doing and doing some shit you ain't supposed to be doing. Then all of a sudden the police come around the block, or you on a corner shooting dice and selling dope or some shit, having a good time. Then all of a sudden the police come around the block. You instinctively know that what you're doing is wrong. So then guess what? You start take off running. Oh shit, let me get my shit together, and then you whip out of there. So this is why these people are gonna be wailing. All right. Let me go from there to Revelation 12, Salak. Revelation 12 and verse 7. It says there was a war in heaven. All right, now this is a Christian doctrine that they push, that Satan, the spiritual demon Satan, and the Most High, they got into it in heaven. All right, and Satan, the spiritual demon Satan, was cast out of heaven where the Most High is, and 1/3 of the angels was cast out with them. All right, and they was cast down in hell, which that's not true at all, because you can read in the book of Job that basically Satan has the door is open for Satan. He, first of all, there ain't no so-called place called hell under the earth. All right, hell is on earth, and it's a condition. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you are in hell, man. All right, now for a prime example, right now you could you being a Jake, you could be working as a all right, so I'll put it this way: you could be a Jake living in hell, and you out there working in landscaping and shit like that, right? Now, you could be in a Edomite neighborhood at these $1 million homes and shit like that, and he outside on the lawn chair, and you cutting his grass or whatever. Now, y'all in the same vicinity. Now, he's in his heaven, and you are in hell, all right? It's not like an actual place to go. You see what I'm saying? Like under the earth. However, the same will with the heavens, there are multiple different heavens. You got the heavens where the birds fly and the planes are. You have the heavens like space. Then you have like the heavens where you know, the Most High in the spiritual realm is where when everybody died, they go to that same place. All right. But then you also have a condition, like I just was explaining, like Esau's in his heaven right now. All right. But this is talking about the heaven where the birds and the planes fly. It says, and there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. All right. And the dragon is speaking about basically Esau. All right. You know, being headed by, you know, like when you read about what is it, Revelation 17 about the whore and the beast. All right, the whore is controlling the beast. All right, so and this is basically going back into that old dragon, basically, you know, the Roman Empire. It's the same shit, these Edomites. All right, but nevertheless, there's going to be a war, and we see it. This is what we're going into. You can see how Esau is preparing for this here war by creating a certain type of technology to fight. You know, and if you know anything about war and combat and the type of shit that you would need to fight off with the people that, you know, the shit we got going on nowadays, because you're just basically fighting human beings, you know, and armor plating and stuff like that. So get you some armor piercing rounds and, you know, big enough bombs. You know, that's all you really need. We don't even need nukes. All right. But nevertheless, you have to understand why they're creating like the laser weapons and everything else like this, hypersonic missiles and, you know, how do you say, direct energy weapons and all these different things, AI drones and robots and things like this, all right, to fight against the Lord, all right? So it says there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Now, Michael and his angels is talking about, you know, when Yahushua returns, Michael the Archangel is going to be right there as well, alongside with all the rest of the angels, all right? Now, they're going to be in these chariots, and they're going to come back, and there's going to be, you know, these chariots are the so-called UFOs, all right? And they're going to be fighting against what? Basically Esau, these other nations as well, and their militaries, all right? You already heard about Ronald Reagan talking about what if there was an outside alien threat, how we would all band together to fight against this outside external threat. That's exactly what they're going to do, all right? It says, and there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and they prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven, all right? And again, going back into this heaven, this is not talking about spiritual demon Satan being cast out of heaven, all right? Because like I said, in the book of Job, he got that open door. He can come and go as he pleases. You know, he's not at odds with the Most High. The Most High is way smarter than you stupid ass people, man. He's not gonna create something that he can't control. All right, that's just not in. That don't even work like that, man. All right, and if the Most High knows everything, wouldn't you think before he created this damn devil, all right, that he would rebel and he would lose control of him and everything like that, and he would have to struggle with this? Come on, man. All right, but nevertheless, you know, like I said, the spiritual demon Satan is on par with the Most High, man. In fact, you know, these damn Edomites and the spiritual demon Satan is far more righteous than 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Because for one, Esau is the wicked. He playing his role to the T. He's supposed to be the damn devil, right? So when he do wickedness, that's him doing a good job. That's what he was put on this earth to do. That's the role he was meant to play. Now, the spiritual demon Satan, right? He came to the Most High. The Most High called him, all right? And then he came to him, and he asked him about Job, and he told him to go fuck with Job, and that's what he went and he did, man. All right, he didn't combat with that, say, nah, I don't feel like doing this, I don't feel like doing that. You go fuck with him. He didn't say none of that. He was like, yo, have you considered my servant Job? You know, and then he went and he followed orders. So he's perfectly fine and in order, all right? It's just you 2/3 of our people that are not in order, all right? But nevertheless, talking about there is no more place found for him in heaven, no more place found for him in heaven as far as rulership. Like 2nd Esdras 6 say, Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right, and we're going to read about how Yahushua is coming to take the crown off the heads of these kings. All right, so if Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow, all right, who's going to take the crown off of Esau's head and kick him off of his throne for ruling, because the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. All right, now it has to the earth has to be translated from the wicked to the righteous. How is that going to happen, man? All right, is it going to be you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that's going to overthrow the so-called white man? You in what military and what technology, what weapons do you have? You don't got shit, man. All right, these niggas has got trillions of dollars to spend on this, and you ain't got shit, man. All right, you and your AKs and your little pistols, they ain't gonna do shit, man. All right, the Lord is gonna have to. It's got to be a spiritual, divine intervention. All right, but it says, "And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven." So his rulership is about to be taken away. All right, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Now, some people would say, oh, well, it's the devil that's deceiving all these people. Like, well, yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, he is the God to these damn Edomites and shit like that. But at the same time, who is physically out here creating these TV shows that are lying to the people? putting out these narratives that's lying to the people, giving people this false hope and this Babylonian juice. Who's physically doing this? It's the so-called white man. All right. Well, let me read the next verse. And I heard a loud voice saying, in heaven now was come salvation and the strength of the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed, or Hamashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, and which accused them before our power day and night. So this is, like I was just saying, this is the point in time where Yahushua is coming to take the throne and the kingdoms. All right. I'm trying to read through this kind of quick. Where is that at? Salaka, give me a second. All right, here's well, I'll come back to this just to make it a little more clear. Let me start at the top here. 2 Esdras 13 and 1. And it came to pass after 7 days I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, and it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. That man is talking about Yahushua, and the thousands of heavens is talking about the fleet of chariots that's coming. All right, you can see multiple videos of this all the time, man. All right. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, they all burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it filleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of the number of the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. So it's talking about this chariot that's coming out, all right? And we'll get back into the voice that came out of his mouth, all right? But it says there was a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the men that came out of the sea. This is going into basically this conglomeration of these nations coming together to fight against the Lord. All right. Let me jump down to verse 30 and 31. And one shall undertake to fight against another, and one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. All right. So this is going into what Ronald Reagan was talking about in the midst of World War III. All right. This is when the Lord's going to come back. All right. And then these nations, like Ronald Reagan said, look, if we had some kind of outside external threat, how we will put aside our small differences and band together and fight against that external threat. All right. And this is exactly what it's talking about. You know, it's going to have nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, World War III popping off. But then it says, and one shall undertake to fight against another, World War III, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, again, World War III, and one realm against another. And that's in the midst of World War III when the Lord and the chariots is going to come back to fight. All right. Verse 6 says, and I beheld, and lo, he had graven himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. And after this I beheld, Salaki. Salaki, give me 1 second. All right, it says, and after this I beheld, and lo, they which were gathered together to subdue him. May have skipped something. Let's go back to verse 6. And I beheld, and lo, he had graven himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. I would have seen the region or the place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. So this was a huge chariot that, you know, that took up his whole peripheral vision from you know, one side all the way to the other side. It was what they would call the fathership. It says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. So ultimately the Lord is going to have to put the spirit on these people to fight. And this is also going into that AI technology that they have, because ultimately, you know, if they could, they would just up and fly away. You know, shit, fuck that. I ain't about to fight this shit. I'm about to, you know, I'm already in this jet. I'm about to just go AWOL or whatever. Man, Salakia, give me 1 second. Over trying to enjoy my damn break. Goddamn Edomites. Salakia. All right. But nevertheless, going back into this here lesson, like I was saying, you know, they were going to be so afraid, but yet durst fight. This is also playing into why they have the AI technology. Like I said, if it was up to them, they would just see the chariots and take off and fly off and everything like that. But now, you know, it's going to put it on there to where like Russia already has this developed in their Su-57 fighter jets. All right, where they have the AI in there, where they can just, you know, they got big ass drone fighter jets basically nowadays, man. All right, not really drones, but AI, because drones is like remote control, but they got it to where it'll just fly itself. All right. Verse 9, it says, and lo, and I saw the violence of the multitude that came. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and the smell of smoke. And when I saw this, I was afraid. So going into this here blast of fire, flaming breath, and the tempest of sparks, all right, and all this was mixed together, which is going into basically how you say concentrated heat, all right, which would basically be a laser weapon, all right. So the Lord's going to come back with these laser weapons, and he's going to be burning these people up, all right. You can get a great visualization of that Tom Cruise movie, The World of Worlds, when those tripods came up out the ground and was zapping people, man, all right. Verse 12, and after, and that was all I wanted to grab there. Let me grab two more real quick. We'll close out. Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 3, it says, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance. I will not meet thee as a man. All right. So, you know, these Edomites still have it in mind, like when the Lord come back, they can just, you know, crucify him again, maybe shoot him down, hit him with a NATO round or something like that, and that's just it. Nah, man, the Lord, hey, you can shoot nukes at the Lord. He take them on head on. He swallow that shit up and then just, you know, like the Incredible Hulk, man. Like, come on, man. In fact, he gonna be like your boy Apocalypse. You know what I'm saying? When that scene in the X-Men movie Apocalypse, where he pretty much controlled the minds of all the soldiers that had the, you know, the launch codes to all the nukes, and not just the American nukes, but the whole world nuclear stockpile, man. And he launched up all their missiles and launched them all the way up into space, man. All right, and ultimately that's what the Lord is going to do, because, you know, talking about the thermonuclear missiles, all right, when you go further into that, they say that none of them is going to break their ranks, none going to spare none, all right, none of them going to be shot off in vain. All right, because ultimately the Lord is going to be the one directing those shots. All right, he's going to be the one that's you know, moving his hand and directing these missiles to hit those targets, man. All right, but it says thy nakedness shall be seen, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance. I will not meet thee as a man. So the Lord's coming back in his angelic body with these so-called UFOs in the chariots, man. All right, to fight against Esau. That's why we just read about one people against another and one realm against another. All right. See, in this realm, the so-called physical realm, all right, the fleshly realm, you got Esau with his stealth fighter jets and everything like that, AI technology to make him think faster and be hidden from radar and everything. But the Lord has it on a whole higher level, man. All right, they got hypersonic shit, and the chariots is way faster than that, man. All right, you know how fast a bullet travels, man. All right, so you can not even imagine. Just go back and look at that old Iranian video, the chariots. You know, well, there was a chariot they was trying to shoot down. They was like letting this shit have it, man. They was dumping on this shit, and the chariot was just, he was already flying fast, but you could see him just speeding up in the midst of all that. Not one of those bullets hit the chariot at all, and there was a multitude of bullets hitting, and that was just one chariot, man. All right, and he was basically in defense mode or just fucking with him. He wasn't even in the offensive mode, because I'm pretty sure he could have just hit him with something to the equivalent of an EMP and shut down all their communications and just deaded all their systems, man. All right, Esau has stealth fighter jets where you can visually see these planes with your eyes if they flying right overhead, and you can hear them, but you can't see them on radar. But what is the Most High have, man? All right, he has actual like invisibility on these chariots, man. All right, let me go to. We'll close out with this. This is Revelation 19. I'm going to start at verse 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. All right. Now, this is a representation of pure power. All right. Like you have your car, the power in it is measured by horsepower. Right. All right. And white is pure power. All right. These chariots. All right. I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. So like I was going into earlier about the fact of the matter of, the Lord is coming to take the crowns off the heads of these kings, man. All right, this is when he's coming back, and what his purpose is. He's not going to meet thee as a man. All right, his eyes was a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but himself. So like I said, the reason he has these many crowns on his head is because he's taking the crowns from off, taking the rulership and the positions of leadership from all these heathens and these Edomites. All right. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of the Most High. And the armies, all right, and what do you have an army for? To fight, all right, to wage war. And the armies which were in heaven, all right, coming from the spiritual realm, followed upon him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. So they're going to also be in chariots as well, too, man. All right, and then, you always had a question, are we alone? Are there aliens out there? And somebody said it perfect. It was like, there may be aliens out there. I'm only afraid that the aliens is going to be like us humans. You know how, them Edomites, they go and conquer people's lands and everything like that. And, they go and they plunder and everything like that. They'll go and quote unquote discover your land, but then they wind up killing you off. They're afraid that what the so-called white man at Columbus did to the Israelites, all right, is what the Most High is going to come and do to them. All right. But they already understand this. This is why they're preparing for their battle, man. All right. And verse 15, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, and with it he shall smite the nations. He shall rule them with a rod of iron. He shall tread the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of the almighty power. So going back into like we just read about with these laser beams coming out, man, he's got the ultimate weapon, man. All right. And he had on his vesture and on his thigh name written King of Kings and Lord of Lords. All right. Let me just finish this here off. Verse 17, and I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great power, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of the mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. Also going into the people that received the mark of the beast. All right, but nevertheless, these armies and these military men, all right. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat upon the horse and against his army, as we just read in 2 Ezra 13. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that received the mark of the beast, and them that worship his image. Both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. All right, so ultimately, verse 21, and the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which the sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. So ultimately, this is going into, the end of not only World War III, but basically the fourth World War. All right, because you got World War III. All right, then you got the Lord is going to come back in the midst of World War III and finish everybody else off, man. All right, so this is how it's going to be at the end all be all, man. All right, so it's going to be a war in heaven, and this is what Esau is preparing for, even unto the same day, man. All right, I just wanted to go into that a little bit. But Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us his truth and that root well. And salutation, much love for y'all, can push his truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth, and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong, shalom.